Good evening, good day, maybe. Don't know if this is going to work because my battery is really low on the phone, but weekly update. It is Sunday, and I had a decent week and a great weekend. Um, Last Friday was a kanji test, which I almost aced, which was great. But then Tuesday, Wednesday was midterms, and Monday I found out that Tuesday's test was a listening test and a grammar test, and I was not prepared for that. Was not prepared for the listening test. Not that there was much I could do to prepare, or that I would have done to prepare. Um, that test I didn't do so well on. I got 68 out of 100. A lot of there's like maybe 20 questions, but they're all worth like 3 or 4 points. Um, it was my first time doing a Japanese listening test. We'd done some practice in class, and I'd been around 75%. So 62 is like a bit less, but not drastically less. But it is lower than I was hoping for and I wanted. I'd like to say that part of the problem was the class next door was really loud, and I kept getting distracted by that class. The other thing is, in these listening tests, the speaker is kind of crappy, and I was just losing concentration. Like, I would be thinking about the class next door, or I'd be thinking about the last question, and then the next question would start, and I would miss part of it. So I'd miss part, so then I wouldn't really know the context of what I was trying to listen for, and also I'm just not good at listening to these things, which I found interesting because I was telling a friend after, I was kind of class friend after, like, I talk to Japanese friends all the time, and like the communication is generally pretty good, but this listening not so good. So I need to spend some time on YouTube, doing more listening practice, and at the right level. Because after this test, I went on YouTube and I looked at N4 listening because I thought we were in an N4 class, and I got like 6 out of 6 right. Like, they were very easy. So I need to find the right level too. Grammar test also did great, 87%. Could have been higher. Lost at least 4 points because I wrote in kanji without writing the hiragana, furigana on top. So realistically, my score is around 91. Still made a few small mistakes in particles and grammar, but generally pretty good. So I was happy with that. The speaking test did not go as well either. I got 76%. And part of that, we suspect our teacher is just harsher than other classes' teachers because she's used to teaching advanced level classes, and this is a beginner class. But I also didn't do as well as I thought. Like, I knew my grammar wasn't great, my conjugations weren't great speaking. I keep doubting myself when I speak these new grammar, or this grammar in the class. And there was a few times where I knew she was asking for me to respond in a certain way and to use a certain grammar, and I kind of started it and then I kind of changed it towards the end. Part of it was like just the way I naturally speak and naturally am comfortable speaking in Japanese. And like one example I'm thinking of, like the set sentence. Like, the school kind of gives you set sentences you can use, and if you don't know any Japanese, these are great like set sentences. But if you're like me, that's used to speaking with people and not learning from a textbook per se, it's harder for me to adapt, or it's hard for me to adapt these sentences, and it's harder for me to use these set sentences because I'd rather use a different sentence that I'm more comfortable with. So yeah, the test was kind of not great, and then but then I had a good week after. Like, after the speaking test, it was pouring rain, but a bunch of us went to Tokyo Dome and got Shake Shack. One of the friends was into the K-pop group 17, which had a meet and greet, and they wanted to see from the outside if she could hear anything. But it was just a fun time. And then Friday, we went over the test results, and after the class was feeling kind of down again, so and it was a Friday night, so we went to Shibuya and went bowling. Actually, well, first we were in Harajuku and we got a good katsudon dinner, and then went to Shibuya, went bowling. I haven't bowled in like 20 years, 25 years, I think. So I was trash. One of my friends is really good. I was trash, but it was still fun. Like I was having. I keep having these moments in Japan where I'm like, I love it here. I'm so happy I'm in Japan. I love that I'm here, and like you can just in Shibuya, like busiest city in the world, busiest square in the world, just walk into a bowling alley. And I mean, we had to wait an hour, so we got bubble tea, but like reserve a time and go bowling, and you can just do it. Like it's a 8-floor building that had 3 floors of bowling, 4 floors of bowling, a cafe, has darts, has pool. It's got a crane game room floor. Like there's just so much to do, and it's not expensive, and it's fun, and there's like lots of things. It's like just very accessible and easy to do, which I love. Had a really fun time just walking around the city from Harajuku to Shibuya too. Stopped in a few pop-up shops. There was a store with running shoes that we went in because Ado, the singer, is having like a collaboration with Adidas, and there was this giant like graphic that we were all excited about. And then inside we found these like really nice shoes that had Mount Fuji on them, and my friend tried on. And I was making a joke that like, oh, we should all get matching shoes and then run around the Yamanote line and stuff like that. And then Saturday hung out with a Japanese friend and her son, and I really like hanging out with her because 1, I get to practice my Japanese, but 2, she takes me places that I wouldn't normally go myself. I wouldn't go myself because I don't look up these things. Like this time we went to an old house that had been converted into a cafe that served like sweets and desserts. But with her son, I also get to like be the cool uncle in a way. Like I get to, but there's a twist to this. So I get to be the cool uncle in the way that I don't have to be the dad and like change the diapers or care or worry about the crying child. But I get to play with the kid when the kid is happy and fun. And I get to see in this twist the Japanese way of raising a kid. Which I was telling my friend, like, the last time we went to a park, this time we went to a park. The last park had a little nature house with like some live frogs and a snake and some fish. And I was like, this is so cool. Like, you don't find this in a city park in the middle of a city in Canada. Like, you might find this in a provincial park or like, but not just like a park in the middle of the city that's got a bunch of slides and a water park and a field. And this time, she took us to a park where we had a bit of a picnic, but they also had a pony riding thing, and for kids, and it only cost 200 yen, like less than $2, to ride, like, I don't know, 2 minutes, like not a long time, but there's only 200 yen. And then you can like look at the ponies, take pictures with the ponies, and then beside it was a hamster petting little place. So the kid got to pet some hamsters and see some rabbits and turtles. And it was really cool for me to see. It was really cool that this is like in Tokyo and like you can go do, very accessible to do, and very cool for me to see like how my friend is raising her 2-year-old son. And I was telling her, like, I have an idea and an image how a child is raised in Canada because that's how I was raised. And even though I haven't had the personal experience of being a father in Canada, I have a gist of how it would happen and what would happen in that experience. But in Japan, I have no context really for how you would raise a kid. And there are a lot of cultural differences and, I guess, accessible opportunities that are different from my childhood and the childhood I imagine a city person in Canada would have, that I find very interesting to experience and see, like this riding ponies in the middle of the city or going to a nature house in the middle of the city kind of thing. So that was really cool. We also stumbled across a used bookstore that had a lot of foreign books, including a whole bunch of architecture books, and I bought 2 of them. I'll show you. This is Tadao Ando Endeavors. I have been kind of eyeing this book on Amazon for like a good 6 years. If you look it up on Amazon, or when I looked it up on Amazon, it was like $180-ish because it's from 2018 and it's out of print now. I think it was originally made for an exhibit he had in France, Centre Pompidou. On the back it says US 55, Canadian 75, but because it's out of print, the price has gone way up. And I think it's like $180. I got this for $6,600, $6,600, which is like $50-$60. And I mean, architecture books are always expensive, so can't get around that. But it is a very good book. The night I got it, I went to a Starbucks in the evening, and I started reading it, and I'm a third of the way through it. Very good book. The other book I got is Hiroshi Naito, very good architect that I'm starting to get into. Haven't really read about his work very much, but in pictures, his work is really good. On the Golden Week, I did happen to go to one of his projects near Matsumoto. I took an hour train from Matsumoto into the countryside just to see a project. It is called the Chihiro Art Museum, Aizumoto. Honestly, was a bit disappointed by it. I think it is kind of one of his earlier works from 1997. It's an interesting project in that the plan is very interesting. The models he made of it look interesting, but the experience of it was not what I expected it to be. I was a bit disappointed by the experience of it. And I kind of need to read more about it before I come to any solid conclusions. I think my initial thoughts, though, were that it's set up, and maybe this is a time thing, like 1997 was a long time ago. And I think maybe the idea of what a museum might have been a bit different then. Or maybe this was very experimental, because it's kind of, the building is kind of built as if it's like a very big house. And that could be good, but it was set up in a house in a park, and it had some connection. It was set up like a house in a park that had connections to the park, but they weren't strong connections. And it was set up and it was designed like a house that was like gonna be a nice house, but wasn't quite the nice house. And like there were moments in the project which were there were a few moments in the project where it was like, oh, this is almost really nice, but not quite. There was a few good moments, really nice moments, but there was a lot of moments, especially around the center courtyard, the entrance, and like the beginning, the beginning where you first experience the building, where I was like, this is almost really nice, but just not quite there. And that might be because it was one of his first projects, or I'm just reading it wrong, maybe. I just haven't researched it. I haven't known much about it. The other thing is, visiting architecture is also can be very dependent on the weather conditions and your personal experience of it and your personal feelings those days. So there was good weather that day, but I had terrible allergies, terrible hay fever, which wasn't really great. And then also the content. So I'm saying this building is like a house, and maybe that's the intent, because the interior contents, the exhibits were all about like children's picture books, which I didn't care at all about. But maybe that's why it was kind of built like a house. I don't know. So that was Saturday. I was reading my Tadao Ando book in a cafe in Japan and just feeling so happy, and so happy to be in Japan, enjoying life. And then Sunday went hiking with my school classmate friends again, and that was a lot of fun too. Had yakitori afterwards. Today, Monday, we had interviews, which was kind of like a check-in with the school after the midterms. This school doesn't really have a very good support for students outside of school, like consultation and advising. I'm starting to like kind of question, like, why did I pick this school? Like, I remember researching schools that seem to have very good student support. This one doesn't really have it. I remember researching schools that had very like new buildings. This one doesn't seem to have it. But yeah, what came out of that is this question of, what do I do next term? So I've been really enjoying this last month where I just living in the moment. I'm really enjoying living in the moment and not worrying about the future. And kind of the future problem came up again of, what am I going to do next term? So this term I'm in beginner 3, which ends, and then it goes to advanced or intermediate level classes. And generally speaking, there's 2 tracks to take. So there's intermediate basic that takes 4 terms, and there's intermediate intensive that takes 2 terms. Everyone's kind of found this beginner level a bit slow. The friend that's been in this school for 6 months already finds it really slow, and so he wants to go to intensive. I don't really want to do intensive, but I'm afraid that the basic level that takes 4 months is going to be too slow, and like this class. The other thing is I only have three terms left, so I wouldn't complete all of intermediate. The advantage of doing the intensive is set up for students that go to vocational school and university. So it's very much on kanji and grammar, reading, writing, listening. It's not really on communication. The advantage is you learn it faster, and I think the only advantage is you learn it faster, and then you have more time to, I'd have one extra term to do like a business course, business term, or like advanced level course. The disadvantage is it'll probably need a lot of studying. I don't consider myself a natural language learner. I consider myself someone that has to, for everything, put in twice the effort as everyone else. So I think it would take a lot more studying. What is consequential to that is I am having so much fun, having lots of free time to go out on the weekdays and the weekends. So I kind of want to do the basic course, but I don't want to do it if all my friends are doing the advanced course. But I kind of want more. I want the free time to like study in school, to learn the grammar and the kanji, but have the time to like hang out with Japanese friends. It'd be nice to get a girlfriend even, to learn to like to live the Japanese life, to live the Tokyo life, and to like have the Japanese conversation practice. Because my friend that's been here for 6 months, like he can barely speak Japanese. He does great on tests, but he can barely speak Japanese. And I'm the opposite. I can speak generally pretty well, but my test scores were a bit lower, and were lower because these are the first time I've done tests. First time I've done a listening test. First time I've done a grammar test. So I'm a bit torn between which class to do, but I'm leaning toward, and I have been for some time, leaning towards the basic one. It's just all my friends want to do these two friends want to do the intensive course. But I am afraid of going into the basic course and it being slow. And the students in my class that are at the bottom of the class, I really don't want to be with them because they like drag the lesson out. They slow down the lesson. They struggle and they slow down the lesson, and I really don't want to be with them or with those kind of level students. I want to be with the intermediate to the middle of the class to the top of the class. So yeah, there is an option where I try and do the intensive and maybe I only do it for one term, or I just try it and see how it goes. And that is something that I'm considering and I might do, but right now I'm feeling like I just want to be a delinquent and hang out and have the free time to go out and play. Even though I've spent so much money on tuition to attend this school. I guess because I kind of had originally treated this year as a gap year that I would, well, originally I had applied to the school because I wanted to live and work in Japan. Then I didn't want to work in Japan, so I started treating this class as just a visa ticket into the country. Now I'm like enjoying living here so much, being a student here so much. I think because I have the free time, if I was working, it would be probably quite a different story. But I'm enjoying the life here so much that I'm like thinking again about how can I live here longer. And if I don't get a girlfriend and a wife, then I would need either to work with a visa or to travel here multiple times a year, but work in Canada or work remotely. Yeah, there's a lot to think about. It also had to do with the N2 tests. I'm thinking of taking a test, the JLPT language test in December, because it would be good to have, good to take. And during the consultation today, the teacher said, yeah, you'd have a tough time doing an N2 test in December, even with the intensive. She implied it'd be difficult. N3 is useless for jobs. You have, like, architecture jobs would need an N2 test. But do I want to work in architecture in Japan? Part of me imagines it being very fun. The other part of me is scared of the overtime and the like work to the bone that Japan is kind of famous for. So I don't have to decide now. I still have a month, but it is kind of popped up again, and that's something I need to think about. And I don't really want to because I want to just enjoy life. I'm moving next month, so that's coming up. This is the dumbest thing with iPhones. Bloody alarm goes off and it stops the recording. Goddamn stupid phone. Have to think, yeah. So I got moving next month, and then also have doctor's appointments this week to look at my UC. which has gone up and down. So there's lots going on. And like just a full schedule of events. My Japanese friend is like, "You're so busy," and I'm like, "Yeah, our schedules are having a hard time lining up, and it's just because there's so much to do, both in like, and I don't even feel like I'm studying enough. I'm getting in like 2 to 3 hours a day, I think, maybe only 2 hours a day, maybe less. I think 2 hours a day though, but I feel like I don't have a lot of time. I'm doing a lot with my school friends, and I'm trying to hang out with my Japanese friends because I'm here to learn Japanese. But I mean, just having fun. There's so much to do. Like, I think I've said before, like every weekend there's like I have to choose 1 out of 5 things to do. There's just I don't have enough time to do all the. I'm having to choose what to have fun doing, but I also want to be studying more. I do actually want to be studying more on my own, but I'm not balancing my study time with my having fun time with my I don't know, household chores kind of thing, I guess. Not that I spend much time on that, but or like reading, like I don't feel like I'm studying enough. I'm having a lot of fun though. But yeah, just not enough time. And maybe it's also a bit about sleep, like having a lot of allergies, and kind of the cures to allergies that I have right now are twice a day showers and lots of sleep. And like if I could sleep less, I would. But yeah, that kind of makes it difficult. But yeah, on that note, it's time to go to bed, and I still have a bunch of studying that I wanted to do that I didn't get to, so I'm gonna try and do that. But yeah, that's the update. It was a tough week with the midterm, and I think I'm taking it a bit harder than I should. Learned a lot about taking tests at this school. Learned a lot about what I have learned and what I haven't learned, and what I've learned short term that I haven't been able to implement long term. And had a fantastic weekend, a lot of fun weekend, great weekend. Despite the up and downs of my health, as well as actually lost my medication and my portable battery bank in a washroom, forgot it there, but c'est la vie. Yeah, so life in Japan is really great. Looking forward to what comes next, but I've been telling myself for a couple weeks now I need to study more. I need to spend more time studying, and I think that's just because how I learn, or how I process information, or how I remember things. Maybe I just don't have good techniques yet, and maybe it just takes me more time than the average person. Because yeah, I've learned a lot in this. Looking back, I have learned a lot in the school, but some of it has been short term. Not all of it, less than I would like, has been long term and implemented into conversation skills. So, got to keep at it. All right, all for now. Cheers.